I am really excited about this webinar. This is the first webinar in a series of monthly presentations that we are going to be making about digital marketing. So today we're going to be talking about your website, how important it is for your business. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Gloria Lafont and I own Action Marketing. And I've been in the marketing business for 30 years or even more. As I started before the internet, this is a publication that did a little feature on the business that I owned with my then husband in 1992, so I've been around. I worked on my first website in the year 2000, and in 2007 I started a promotional product business. But I continued working with small businesses in their full marketing service, and that's really what I like. In 2015, I sold part of my promotional product business. I was an early adopter of the internet. First time that I had to do a website, to me, that was like creating a brochure. I had designed so many brochures and created all the sections and created all the content. So to me, doing a website was the same, only in a different medium. And that's how I approached it. So I started really early. Now, as far as what we do in my business, we provide digital marketing services for distributors specifically. Mostly, I still have other clients in the arts, especially. I have a few orchestras, nonprofits that are specialized in the arts and culture type of thing. But other than that, I also work with distributors, and it's really almost exclusively. And what we do, well, sometimes people ask, okay, so what exactly you do? We write content for your website, we write the blog posts, and then we distribute it via social media, paid advertising, email, and so on. And that way you can build the premium positioning for your brand and be found on the internet. You should have gotten a workbook that is nothing but the agenda, and the idea is that you make notes on the things that really are like aha moments. You don't need to be writing copious notes because there's going to be a replay, but those things that you want to take action on, that then you want to actually make a note. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the role of your website in marketing your distributor business. We're going to be discussing the different platforms available. We're going to talk about the key elements to increase conversions. And also we're going to talk about 3 particularly deadly mistakes that you have to correct. If you are making any of this, you have any of these situations on your website, you need to do something about it today. We're also going to talk about the branding elements that you must have to communicate your value and to attract your right type of clients that you want. We're also going to talk about how to come up with the design or redesign strategy and lay out your framework to maximize your conversions. And then we're going to walk through the authority website checklist, which you should have also received. And then at last, if anyone wants to have their website critiqued, then type it into the comments, and at the end we will be doing that. And also, any questions that you have, type them in. I am going to answer all the questions at the end. Okay, so let's talk about the role of your website. Your website today is your place of business in the marketplace. Everything you do to promote your business drives traffic to your website. From the business card that you're handing out, or the connection you're making on LinkedIn, or someone you met somewhere and you didn't even have any business cards, but you had a pen, a self-promo pen, anything and everything, it drives traffic to your website because people are going to go to your website to find out more about you. So your website is open 24/7. It's all there all day long, and you don't even know who's coming to your website. Now, your website is the hub of all the stuff you do because it's going to drive traffic through your website through all of this activities, the SEO, which is the optimization, is meant to drive traffic. Any online promotions you're doing, paid advertising, social media, all of that drives traffic to your website. So everybody researches online. If you want to buy something, if you need something, you're going to go online to find out more about what you want. You're going to do all the research in there, and you're going to contact the provider after you've done your due diligence. So a good website has to answer the questions that your client has to really tell the visitor, the right visitor, that, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm the person to help you, but only to the right visitor. So it communicates to your ideal client the value that you bring to the table and how you help them. It also positions your authority and your expertise. That's really what it's all about. It also has to make it easy for your ideal client to take the next step. So when somebody gets to your website, they have to feel that they hit the jackpot. And I'm sure that sometimes you've been looking for something, and when you finally find this website, you check this website, check the other website, and then you finally find it, and you feel that you finally hit the jackpot. You don't have to look anymore. That's it. You found it. I know I felt like that. Not too long ago, I was looking for a chair because my back was killing me, and I needed a better chair for my office right here. And it took me a while to find it, and that's how I felt. Somebody's your ideal client, it goes to your website doesn't speak to them, they're going to leave. So you want to make sure that it attracts the visitors and the right clients. Okay, so let's take a look at the platforms. This is the source of a big discussion. Regularly, people ask, what is better, ESP or Sage or custom? What's better? There are tons of options, and there are tons of ways that you can go to market. There's not one solution that fits everybody. That's why I wanted to kind of go over this a little bit to discuss the different options. So these are the most common. They're not the only ones, because as you know, we have tons and tons of options today. So the industry e-commerce sites are Distributor Central, ESP, Sage. There are others that have come in the market, but these are the most common. Now, these are websites that are modernized in the e-commerce sense. They have all updated their systems, and they are all work really well for the e-commerce, for the searches, and has good quality images. It has a lot of very, very good things. The three of them. Now, as far as how good they are for SEO purposes, some people say that you cannot optimize a Sage website or Distributor Central website. The truth is that yes, you can. You can optimize them. You can apply the on-page optimization features. It is a little limited, but you can do it, and especially the new sites with Sage are built in a way that is very friendly, very search engine friendly, but you still have to do the work to optimize them. It's not going to happen by itself. And we're going to get into that in a little while. Now, there are pros and cons to going with each of these, and we're going to go over that. The pros that you can have a website immediately. You just put your domain on it, your logo, your address, and you have a top of the line e-commerce site that has good functionality when people are searching for products, and it can give people excellent features as far as the searches. They can also be customized any way you want. You can customize your homepage, you can add pages, you can change the structure of the additional pages that you'd like to add outside of the search portion. Usually it's not so easy to do if you want to do it yourself, but they offer as a service, they'll do it for you, and that's a very positive. You have everything in one place. However, a big con is that if they change the platform, you lose all the customizations you've made. And I want to ask you, how many times have they changed the platform since you started your business? So that's the thing that concerns me, that you go out and build out a nice website, and then you have to now change the platform because they changed it. That's my fear. So you have no control over these websites. And also, the products are going to be the same in all of them. So you cannot get found by a product, or you can't do much with that. Now, about the products, some of these websites have a section of promotional products showing scrolling on your homepage. Now, this is a good idea because you sell products. Now, the thing is that these are randomly selected, so you don't even know what's being shown on your website. So you want to have control of what your website is showing. You want to select the products that you want on your homepage. Pick some interesting products. You don't need to have cheap stuff showing on your homepage. So it is limited in the customizations. Now, they also offer upgraded, and they look nicer, and you can tell them what you want, and then they can come and do it for you. They charge you for that. That's good if you know exactly what you want, but sometimes it's hard. You want something new, you have an idea of how you want it to look and you want it to work, but you need somebody to help you put that in paper and kind of bring it out, right? So that they don't do that. They are technicians who will go and do what you tell them, but don't expect them to give you any advice into doing it one way or another. If you ask them for advice, they will give you advice based on what's easier for them. What happens is that because you have to really put a lot of time in the design that you want on your website, you tend to just go with one of the templates that they show you of the upgraded websites and have very little customization in the end, and your website ends up looking like the rest of the upgraded websites. So you, in the end, just change one cookie cutter website for a new cookie cutter website. So you're really not accomplishing what you want to accomplish. And this is just something that you have to be aware of. Okay, so let's take a look at the others. Now, if you wanted to do a custom e-commerce site where you would have full control of the products and what's on the website, then these are platforms that are the most popular. Now, you would want to, if you are building a website for a line of products, then it would be worth that you go on a custom solution, because one disadvantage of the Sage and the industry sites is that the product feed comes from the suppliers, and you cannot tag someone that came and saw a product. If you have an e-commerce site and somebody goes and starts using your website and almost buys a bag, for example, they went to a canvas bag, they liked it, and then they left, because many times people are researching and they don't buy the first time they find something. So they leave, and you have no way of tagging that person that visited. With these other sites, you can retarget them, meaning showing them ads. Hey, why didn't you buy this? Of course, not that way. With a Sage and an industry site, you cannot do that. With one of these custom solutions, you can. So those are considerations. There is not one solution for everybody. So you have to see what it is that's important to you. Okay, the next option would be a do-it-yourself custom agency model, where you want to feature other things that is not just products, that you don't want to look as a product outlet, and you want to also show that you do other things, whether it be programs like you work with schools and you have different things that you do for the schools, or you work for nonprofits, safety, whatever it is. So you would want to have a solution where you can have more content and that addresses that. So these here, usually you would have a link to your Sage, ESP, or Distributor Central sites, and that when people want to search, they can go and do the search on those other websites. And you could also have them customize your e-commerce site so that it mimics and it looks very similar to your main website as far as the header and the footer, so people it's not feel such a big disconnect. So that's one way. Now, as far as comparing this, Squarespace, Weebly, Wix, and WordPress, Squarespace, Weebly, and Wix are template-based websites. They are very nice. They are very user-friendly. So if you want a solution, if you're starting out and you want something that put out something really quickly, they are nice, very nice looking, and they have a lot of features. They're good quality websites for somebody that doesn't want to do something exactly the way they want, like me. Now, with WordPress, they also have some templates that you can pick from and just fill in the blanks if you want. And also you can do a full custom solution. But the big difference between the WordPress and these other three types of websites is that if you decide that you want to change your layout, because things change. If you have a 10-year-old website, it's probably going to look dated and it's going to be limited in what it does and the way it looks. You want to change it. When that happens, you lose all the work. You have to start from scratch. So that is not very good, in my opinion. Whereas with WordPress, I have to say that I did my first website in WordPress when I first heard that they existed, which was, I don't know, 2008 maybe. And that one website we've changed so many times, and you don't lose your content. You don't lose your content. Of course, if it's a very big website, you have many pages, then you have to have a strategy and a plan to go about it. But you do not have to recreate all that content, which it's, to me, it's all those assets that you've built, you know. So those are considerations. Again, those are considerations for you in making your decision. The other thing is that Squarespace, Weebly, Wix, they are limited. They have limitations. You have to work within the frames that they give you. You can't really get that much creative. And then the last option that I want to show you is something that's what we do, which is WordPress, and then integrating with Sage, ESP, and Distributor Central as the e-commerce portion of it. And I want to show you, there is either doing the link, and I want to show you in an actual website from a client how it would look like. This is a website from a client where they have their catalog website linked, very basic. The out of the box, just customized the logo so that it clicks back to the main website, just as you would expect from the way everything works today. You want to provide the same experience as your clients would expect when going to any other website. Okay, now this other one, which I think is nicer, this other one, this is one that we're working on. It's not finished, but I just thought I'd pull it up quickly and show you. So this is the website. Here's the website, and this is the home page of the website. And now we are going to go to the catalog, which is embedded inside of the website. Instead of linked, it is right in. And here it is, see? So this, you don't go out of your website at any time. Everything happens inside. So let's say, for example, canvas bag. Okay. So here's how my product looks, and it's all inside of my website. So all of the information, everything, all the options. Now this is a Distributor Central website, okay, that is inside here. Now, going back to what we were talking about, ESP and Sage used to do something similar to this. Now Sage has made it so complicated that requires a lot of programming for you to be able to pull that in. And not only that, but they charge you. Like with Distributor Central, they give you a code, you put that code in, and you're done. And that's the way it used to be with Sage and with ESP. Now, with Distributor Central is the only one that still has it like that. They have all updated everything, so I don't expect that to change anytime soon. But you know how it works. You never know when it's going to change. But Sage now makes you buy a new type of subscription to have that the product feeds, and then you have to program that in, and it takes a lot of work. What I'm thinking is that they want to deter people from doing that, and you might as well just have them recreate a catalog website that goes with your main website. So that is something that you have to consider, because either way you cannot tag the products. You can't really do much more than just you can't optimize the product pages either, because each product description, each product image is exactly the same. So Google doesn't really look for that as, because it's not unique. It's you will have to have your own description, your own name, your own images. Then that way you can actually differentiate the products and optimize the products if you want. So there's all of these things are important to consider when you are thinking of what's the best solution. And of course, if you are not sure, you can ask us. We can help you. Now, one thing that we started to do as a service, because there are a lot of good e-commerce platforms out there, whether they are industry or they are custom, and there are some industry specialties that are providing really good websites that I have not tested. That's why I'm not putting them here, but I'm kind of following the work they're doing, and it looks really good. What we're doing is sometimes working for some clients, we're working with the e-commerce provider of their choice in the layout and the content of the website. So we provide that part of the work and coordinate with their tech people, so that way our client doesn't have to be worried about it and answering questions and being frustrated with the stuff that, oh, that doesn't look the way I want. So that's something that we also do. Okay, now let's talk about 10 key elements to increase conversions. And get your little notepad out and just make a note of those that you have to really address. Okay, so let's go. The number one, you want your pages to load quickly. Have you ever gone to a website and it doesn't load, takes forever, you leave, right? And numbers confirm this. 39% of visitors leave a website if images won't load or it takes too long. They just leave, and this is according to Adobe and Forrester and a number of other sources. Okay, the other thing is that you want to have an attractive visual design. You are a branding company. You have to communicate that through your visuals. It has to be something trendy, it has to look nice. Otherwise, you don't communicate that. You can tell people, hey, I'm so creative, but then they go to your website and it doesn't look professional, it doesn't look attractive. You're really undoing what you thought you were doing. Now, this is also backed by some data, especially in the business-to-business environment. 38% will stop engaging with a website if they find it unattractive. Now, you want to have content that speaks to your target audience. This is so important. You want to have a headline that conveys your value proposition, and your message has to be directed to your target audience. That's how you avoid people that are not your target audience. It has to have easy navigation, and you want the navigation to be in the places where it's expected. You want it to be across the top, and then if you have sub navigation and secondary navigation, you want it in other places. One place is the footer. People expect to have links there, but you don't want to have all kinds of navigation and too many things in the navigation. You want to have it nice and clean and organized, so it's easy, so things are easy to find. You also want to make it easy for your visitor to take the next step. Now, remember that many of your visitors are your own clients. So you want to make it easy for your own clients to get in touch with you, to place a reorder any way they want. So you want to have your phone at the top and at the right side. That's where most people expect to find it. And then you also want it at the bottom, at the footer. It's also good to have it there. You want to use forms, contact forms, where people can fill out basic information, not just the name and email, but also have, do you have an event? When is the date? a few questions. Are you looking for the lowest price, or are you looking for creative ideas? I always like to include that question in there because that really is very revealing as to the intention of the person. Okay, and you also want to leverage chat if you can. Not everything is for everybody. If you can have a chat, it's really good, because how many times do you want to ask a question and you go to the chat feature of a website to ask the question, right? So one important fact is that sometimes you don't have your contact information visible enough. I've seen so many websites that you can't really find how to communicate with this provider, and 44% leave the website if they have a hard time to find it. People are impatient. So you want to have all the possible ways that somebody can contact you. I always like to include this in the contact us page, every possible way. Even if they want to make an appointment with you and you can have a calendar link, if this is something that you can do. And I always like to test different things to see what works best, because things change constantly. So you have to have a little bit of experimentation in your marketing. Okay, the number 6 is you want to show your personality in your website. You don't want to have stock images. Stock images are authenticity killers. You want to be real. You don't have to have a big personality. You don't have to be the most popular person or funny, or you just be you. The way you are, that's perfect. So you want that to show on your website, because when we own our business, usually our values, we bring that to our business. The way we function and the way we think, we bring that to our business. So that's kind of part of it. So you want to show it, and in the way you work, in the way you take care of people, in your communication pieces. So this is something that's important. And sometimes getting rid of the stock images and having a photo of you and your team, it's enough. Okay, it's also good to have credibility factors on your website, especially for new visitors, for new people, new contacts that you make. So this is where, if you're a member of ASI or PPAI, your local chamber, any memberships, any recognition awards you have been given, any logos or testimonials of your own clients, all of these things show that you are here to stay, that you're not a fly by night, and that those are add to the credibility and the trust. Okay, you also want to have clear calls to action, but you don't want to have too many. Like sometimes you have all kinds of different things everywhere and people are not going to know which direction to go. So you want to have them in strategic places, and you, every time that there is something that warrants for people to either click or learn more, then you want to have a clear call to action for people to take that action that you want. It's very important that it's mobile responsive, and you want to optimize it for both the phone and the tablet. So you want to make sure that your website looks good in any size screen, because sometimes your laptop is smaller than your big desktop, and if you only look in, you're doing your design on the desktop and don't test it on the other stuff, then you don't really know what it's going to look like for everyone. Okay, I want to touch on the necessary pages on your website. Most distributors have 2 or 3 pages. They have the home page, which is not very much customized. They have a About Us page that says absolutely nothing about them. Some of them doesn't even have the name, much less a photo. And then a Contact Us page. That's it. Okay, let me tell you that is just not enough. Someone coming to your site and all they see is your homepage and then nothing on your About Us page that tells them about you and what you do and what you stand for, and then that's not enough. So the people want to know, think about you when you're, say you have to go to a new doctor, skin doctor, because you got this big rash. So when you find a dermatologist, you want to check it out, make sure that they do rashes, right? They have experience in rashes. If all you see is the name and make an appointment here, it's not enough. So you want to do the same thing. You want to have a page for each of your services. If you do trade shows, you have a page for trade shows. If you do uniform programs, you would have a page for that. Awards, incentive on awards, you get the idea. So you want to have content on your website because also that helps Google find your site. Okay, so you want to have a blog. The blog is a place to add content regularly. You also want to have a landing page. This is good if you're making an offer. If you have, maybe you have ads out there, you want the ads to go to the landing page. You don't want the ads to go to your main website. You want to have a page that is designed especially to make for that offer and that make people go through the steps that you want it to go to. So that's the idea with the landing page. You also need a privacy policy so that you comply with the latest privacy and terms and conditions regulations. If you don't have it, I don't think there is a privacy policy police, but you are a professional. People that are coming to your website are professionals, and you need to have those things in there. And privacy is a big thing these days. So you want to have that on your website, and it's not so hard to do. We, in fact, have one that is a template that you can buy really inexpensive and just put in your name and fill in the blanks kind of thing, because it's not hard to do. The next thing is you want to have, if you have reviews online, that it's even better. So people are leaving reviews on Facebook, on Google, on Yelp. So if you have reviews online, you want to have an aggregator that shows on your website those reviews, and also testimonials. If you have testimonials and you want to ask for those, all of those things are pages that need to be on your website. Okay, now let's look at the 3 mistakes, and these are huge. If you are making any of these, if you have any of these situations, you need to address that immediately. The first one is that it takes too long to load. I have seen some websites, some distributor websites, mostly do-it-yourself websites on WordPress, where they start playing with this and playing with that, and you have tons of plugins that are conflicting, and the website just takes a long time to load. People leave, like we saw before, so this is a big problem. There is a testing link. I'm gonna include that in the replay page with all the other resources that I may include in there. Okay. So that's the number 1 mistake. So if your website takes too long to load, you need to address that right away, because not even your clients are going to have the patience to wait for your page to load. Number 2, a generic looking website. This is a killer of differentiation, right? If you look like everybody else, you're going to look like somebody that doesn't care about their own brand. Maybe you do care, I'm sure you do, but that's the perception. This person didn't take the time to put something about them. I want to make a mention here that if you have an ESP generic website out of the box that you've never done anything with it, it comes with a newsletter subscription box that when people subscribe to that, it goes to ASI, okay? Doesn't go to your list. So you want to remove that. Make sure you remove that. Okay, that was a side note. The next huge deadly mistake is not having encryption on your website installed. This is something that was made mandatory by Google back in last May. It's really not hard to do. It's your hosting company should provide it. Like we work with SiteGround, and it's included in their hosting packages. You don't have to pay any additional unless you have a high e-commerce, you have a lot of transactions, and you need a higher level of encryption. But for the stuff that we all do, even if you have transactions online and people buy some stuff, the basic SSL certificate is fine. This is urgent. Google may just show you a big sign that doesn't let people in. This site is not safe, this site is not secure, and people can't even go on your site. So you have to address that. Okay, then let's talk about the branding elements. that you want to have on your website to communicate to the right clients so you attract them. Okay, number one, everybody hates this. I don't know why. Clarity on your target audience. Sometimes I speak to so many distributors that tell me, no, everybody can be my client. I cannot narrow down. I work across so many different industries and so many different type of people. You know, you have to think about who your best clients are. They work in certain type of businesses, certain size of businesses. Look what they have in common and come up with a description of your target audience, because not everybody is your client. So you want to narrow it down by any category that you can. You know, who are they? What do they want from you? That's one way. You know, people that work with me want me to take care to be available 24/7 and by text, for example. Then you also want to think about what's a day in the life for them. You know, how can you help them? If you know exactly what they go through, like many times your clients are not the ones that make the final decision. They have a boss and they have to answer to that boss. So you are helping them look good and do their job, do a part of the job that they have to do, and clearing their days. You want to know exactly what can you do to make things easier for them. Okay, so once you have that information, you're clear on who your target audience is, then you can create a sound core marketing message. Now, a marketing message is not just a tagline, it's not just a slogan, it's a concept, it's your brand promise, what you stand for, how you do things. All of that belongs in your marketing message, and it is extremely important to your brand. So you have to take the time to do that. We're going to do a webinar on branding because this is how important it is. And I'm going to do that at some point in the near future. But for now, you want to make sure that your message talks to your audience and it communicates your value and how you help. Okay, let's move on to number 3. Okay, like we said before, you don't want to have any stock photos or stock videos because those are so blah. They just look very generic. So you want to have original and well-designed graphics. You know, you pay a graphic designer, hire someone and a freelancer to create something really nice for your website. So it's your business, it's worth it. It's worth the investment. And so some things you don't want to be too cheap about it. And in some cases, it's not that expensive to have a few nice banners and a few nice graphics for your website. And also you want to have photos of you. Even if you work by yourself, you can take photos of your office. You can take photos of you working on your office, you visiting someone, you at a networking event, or at a charity event that you're volunteering. You know, those things speak about you. Your self-promos make good photos for your website as well. Your vehicle wrapped. I hope I'm giving you ideas on how to come up with your own graphics. The other one is consistency. You know this. You want to have a consistent visual style, messaging and tone and colors throughout your website and also throughout all the rest of your marketing materials, all your online profiles and your flyers, your business card. Everything has to be consistent. Okay, so let's now talk about your website design or redesign strategy. That is a big job. Most people, when they think about, oh, I want to have a new website, so the first thing they think is the looks. I want my website to look awesome. I don't know how many times I heard that. Every new client says it. I want my website to look awesome. Okay, let's define awesome. Now, you don't start in the look. Everybody wants to start in the look. Oh, I want this, and start looking at graphics, start looking at competitors' website that you like, and I want this here, and I want something like this, and I want something like that. All of that is good for inspiration. Now, if you're focusing on the looks first, that's like if you are going to build a house and you start by going out and buying the paint and the window treatments. It's very possible that they're not going to fit anywhere. You're going to waste time and money doing that. So that's not the place to start. The looks is not the place to start. The place to start is figuring out first how many rooms you want the house to have, where are those rooms going to be located, how many bathrooms, what's the height of the ceiling. All of those foundational things come first. And with the website is the same way. And many times, most designers start with the look of the website. And it's a huge waste of time. And that's usually when website projects take months to deliver. I've never taken months to deliver a website project because I follow a framework and I start with a blueprint. So there are a few things to consider, especially if you have an e-commerce site that is completely outdated, it's not even mobile friendly, and now you have to move to a new one. That could sound like a nightmare, but it doesn't have to be. Okay, so you want to have a blueprint, planning the whole thing. So the first thing you want to do is define your goals. What exactly are you looking for that your website will do for you? What do you want your website to do for you? It's a tool. So let's not talk about how it looks. Let's talk about what it does, how it functions. So that's the first thing. You got to really be clear on that. Then you want to make an assessment. How good is your current website? And you want to look at the user experience, because it's really not about what you think. That doesn't count at all. It's about your users. And maybe you have a client that's a friend, or you have developed a relationship. I know I developed relationships over time with all of my clients. Are you going to ask them a favor? Hey, come to my website. I'm redesigning it. What would you like to see on my website? How would it work better? The other thing is, you want to compare it to retailer sites. I'm going to tell you why. The retail industry is the leader when it comes to trends. Trends, business follow retail trends. When you go and check out a retail trend, if you have an e-commerce site and you go to a new e-commerce retailer that you like, look at the elements, look how it works, look at what it offers to the clients, because people are going to want the same experience. They want to have something similar. So the easier you make it for your clients, the better off you are going to be. Okay, you also want to do an SEO audit. One of the things that is going to show is what are your top ranking pages. You don't want to lose all that juice. So you want to have a plan on how to address all of that. You want to have a list of all the URLs, which pages are URLs that are not built properly. Sometimes you delete something and it stays there and it goes to a 404 page. So you want to really be clear, especially for big websites. This is something important to do in the planning. Okay, you also want to know your competition. Who are your top 3 competitors in your area? I'm not talking about for imprint. I'm not talking because if you are watching this webinar, I don't think you are going to make an investment comparable to for imprint. I think that's your budget. So, all right. So, but you do want to know who are your competitors in your area, your top 3 competitors. What are they doing online? And what can you do better than them? Important. Okay, I already mentioned this. You want to survey your customers. Maybe you take a few. How do they use our website right now? What would you like to do on your website? And then when you have all of this information, you go and create your blueprint. Okay, now we're gonna go through the checklist. I'm gonna walk you through the checklist because it covers everything from top to bottom, everything that you have to consider when you are building your website. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to do everything exactly the way it's here, because you have to think about what you want and what works for you. But this is a good reference of all the pieces that make a website work really well. Okay, let's go. So I'm very proud of this. We updated it after Google made some major updates. So we kind of updated it because I've had this for a while. So this is current. So you should have gotten this along with the checklist that is easier to fill in and print. And hopefully you have it in your hands right now. Okay, first, the encryption. You want to make sure that you have an SSL certificate installed. It just shows an HTTPS URL. It ends in an S. You probably know that by now. Okay, then your branding elements. You want to have a high resolution logo, a trendy looking design, consistent look and feel through all the pages. You want to have original, relevant quality graphics and avoid industry stock. Industry gives you tons of stock images. You don't want to use that, especially if they have them in their templates. Somebody else is going to also have it. So you're going to have your own. Okay. You also want to have a marketing message that is focused on your client. Moving on to the layout. Make sure it's mobile responsive, has minimal navigation, links and buttons are clearly visible, social icons are at the bottom. This is important because you don't want the social icons at the top and then people click on them and leave your website and never come back. So you want that at the bottom. Next is the SEO elements. You want to have keywords in all your page titles and the content. Let's take a quick look at the keywords and where to find them. One way of looking at the keywords is if you type something on your browser bar, it's going to open up a window and show you different options. Usually these are things that people type. So Google's trying to guess that you want something that somebody else already typed. Now, if you type something, a lot of times it's gonna pick whatever you typed. So you want to take that into consideration. But this is one way of looking at keywords that you think you may want to use. Also, of course, there is Google AdWords. They have a keyword planner where you can have more detailed information about the keywords, the volume, how many people are looking, and a lot more detail. And you're going to put those keywords in your title and description tags. This is what shows up on Google when on the searches. You want to have your keywords in there. Okay, back to the checklist, and let's take a look at the rest of the SEO elements. You want to make sure you have your business name, address, and phone written exactly the same way on your website. Now today that's not so hard because usually you put your address in one place and it's going to be populated in other places, but sometimes you have to fill it out in different places. You want to make sure it's the same, the phone, all of that. Also in online directories, you want to make sure that everything is updated. You want to have your images optimized. Sometimes the images are too big and you need to reduce them to the size of the space that is ideal for your particular platform. If it's too huge, it takes too long to load, takes too much space on your server, and it's a number of things that are really very negative. So this is very important. Okay, so you also want to have relevant content in your internal pages, and the content has to have at least 600 words in length. Otherwise, it's too shallow, doesn't really get found by Google. Next is a fast loading time. Is important for SEO and also important so your visitors won't leave waiting for your site to load. The next thing is you want to have visible buttons. People expect to be guided through. When you land on a website, you want to know where you're supposed to go. Next is your homepage elements. You want to have a clear benefit statement above the fold. You also want to have your specialties. You don't have to have this divided in 3 columns. It doesn't have to be 1 row, 3 columns. It could be 2. You could do this any way you want. You can have a video, you can not have a video, but in this location, you want to have your services. Like, for example, if you do trade shows, you would have one of these boxes would be trade shows. The other one would be safety programs. The other one would be awards and recognition. You can also, if you're doing products, you want to pick your top categories of products, and you will have that here. You will have a nice image with the product there instead of having just a bunch of products that are randomly selected, because you don't want random on your website. You want to know what's on your website. I've seen websites, especially the industry ones, that have 10 cents pens on the homepage. Why would you want anyone to call you to buy pens that are 10 cents? Please. And maybe they do call you, and that's why. Okay, so the point is that you want to have a space on your website that describes all your specialties. Okay, the next thing is that you want to have a product search button that is visible and at the top. This is, of course, if you want to stimulate people looking for products. And your clients visit your website, and when they come to your website, they want to go search for products. So you make it very easy for them. You may also have it somewhere else, like if you have in one of the other boxes is promotional products, like this one right here has a box right here. If you click here, you go to the promotional products page. In this case, you have it in 2 places. You have the online catalog right there at the top, and then you have a box that is going to go on the catalog as well, because people want to be able to go where they want to go quickly. The next thing is your trust icons. What are trust icons? Trust icons are memberships like your ASI or PPAI, your chamber, or an industry association of an industry that you market to, anything like that. You could also have clients' logos, testimonials. You want to have that. It shows that you are here to stay, that you're not a fly-by-night. And believe me, there are tons of fly-by-nights. So these kinds of things make people trust you and add credibility. Same thing with the testimonials. You want to have at least a couple on your homepage. The next thing to go on your homepage is a lead magnet, if you have one. This could be a guide to buy promotional products, or to set up a trade show, or a checklist, even a printed catalog. I have to say that I tested different things, and I did get leads from all of my lead magnets that I used. The one that surprised me the most was the printed catalog. Back in the day, there was a green products catalog, and that was the one that was most popular. I thought it was ridiculous that people would want me to send them a printed green catalog. So you never know what's going to work. So if you do have one, you would put the lead magnet right on your homepage. Another important item is a warranty. You are selling products, and people want to know that you are going to stand behind the products, and you want to tell people that you are, because in the end, you are going to stand behind the products. And it's a major trust factor, so it is an important one. Then, of course, your contact info, you want it all at the footer. People expect to find that at the footer. And then again, in the footer, you want to have your social media icons at the bottom. Also at the footer, you want the main navigation links. Again, that's where people expect to find the links to the main most important pages. That's where they're going to be looking. So you want to have those there. And then the additional pages that you also want are, the about us, ordering information, if you have that, you think that's important to you. Project section, if you're going to showcase products. Your specialty pages, like we said before, and your privacy policy. Then your conversion elements are things that are going to help people take the next step. You want to have your phone number at the top right across all of the pages because that's where people are going to expect to find it. Let's talk about the live chat. If you cannot man the live chat during business hours, then you should probably not have it. But you want to look towards that. You want to go in that direction. Think about how can I have a live chat when you are on a website and you want to know something. You go to the live chat. You all look for it, right? You want an immediate answer. You want to also have a contact form. You can have the form, the complete form. I prefer to have the form, or just have a call to action button with that takes people to your contact us page, and there's the form. You want to have a couple of qualifying questions on your form. You don't want people to fill out too many details. Sometimes people, how much do you want to pay per item, and how much do you want to, how much is your budget? And somebody that's brand new, it's not going to give you all that information, but they will answer basic questions that are going to get the conversation started. Not too many, so that people don't feel that they have to answer too many questions to get to you, but just a few. When is your event, or do you have a date, for example? Are you looking for ideas plus the products, or are you looking for the lowest price? And then you know if this is a worthwhile lead or not. Okay, so that concludes our walkthrough. We are just about done with our webinar. And I know that we covered a lot. First, we talked about the role of your website. We talked about the different platforms, the pros and cons of each, the key elements to increase conversions, 3 deadly mistakes that you need to avoid, the branding elements that you must have to communicate your value and attract the right clients. We also covered how to go about a design or a redesign project, and we walked through our authority website checklist. So before we go into the questions, I would like to stop for a moment. Which of these things that we talked about will have a positive impact on your business? On your workbook, these things are outlined. So hopefully you made notes of what things you need to address. And then from there, I want you to decide which 3 you will implement in the next 30 days. This is the most important part, because sitting through these sessions might be very helpful. You know more about how everything works and you're more clear on how things need to be done and set up. But you gotta take action. If you don't take action, nothing happens. Now, because it's a lot, I think that it's always good to think, okay, what are 3 things I'm gonna do now? And just forget about the rest. Just focus on those 3 things that I'm going to implement. And I would love to hear which those 3 things, at least one. If you want to just start with one, that's also fine. The whole point is to start. Now, if you're looking for help with the implementation, I would love to hear from you. The next step would be to schedule a web presence assessment and a strategy session. We offer a few of these a month for free. This is something that we normally charge for. You won't find this offer anywhere because we don't advertise it. It's only for those who are considering hiring us. And this helps us, both you and us, decide if we are actually going to be a good fit. And it allows you to see how we work. What this consists of is we start with an assessment, with an online presence assessment that includes your online positioning on your rankings and also your social media presence and opportunities that might be there for improvement. After we've done that assessment, we schedule a strategy session. We have usually sent you a questionnaire so that we can learn about your goals and where you are in your business and what you're trying to accomplish. And then in that strategy session, we present you with a game plan which is an action plan for the first 90 days on those areas that are most critical that need to be addressed to begin with. Usually there are a lot of foundational things that need to be put in place to get off on the right foot and get the most benefit from all this work. So if you're interested in that, there's going to be a link along with this video. But if you happen to be watching this video in a place that you can't see the link, so make sure you go to actionmarketingco.com/schedule. And I would love the opportunity to discuss what we can do for your business and for you to become one of our happy clients. And with that, I want to thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I know your time is valuable and I really appreciate you spending it listening to this. And I hope it was very useful. I hope you got some really good nuggets of information and that you implement some of what we discussed today. I would love to hear your thoughts. So thanks again. Stay in touch and take action.